Hi, if you're an Ocean View student watching this and you're in 5th grade, I really miss you. I thought I'd be teaching these art videos even sooner, but we haven't gotten our supplies yet. So I'm just going to go ahead and do some projects that don't need supplies. And this is a really fun one for winter time. How to draw a snowflake. You might know how to cut out an intricate snowflake, but do you know how to draw one in a way that isn't too hard? I have some completed samples here of snowflakes, and actually all of these are the same design, but they all look kind of different, and yours may look even different than this one. So I'm going to put them out just so you can see that your snowflake will be uniquely yours, even though we'll all start out with the same design here. There's different things that you can do with it. And even if you drew it yourself again, it would come out looking differently each time. And just like real snowflakes, they all come out in a unique way, but I think they're very beautiful when you do this project. And they're actually pretty simple to draw, but it does take some work just to keep at it. Okay, so the first thing you need when you're doing this is a piece of paper that is a square. And I'm just going to use a piece of Xerox paper here. It's not a square, it's a rectangle. So you need a ruler. And I want you to measure down from the top 8 inches. You can just line it up with the corner, come down 8 inches, and put a little pencil mark where it's 8 inches. And then do the same thing on the other side. Line it up, come down at 8 inches. And once I have a little mark on each side, I can take my ruler, match them up, draw my line, and now I've got an 8-inch by 8-inch square. I'll just cut it. And we're going to save the extra paper at the end for something else. Oh, I was cutting 2 pieces together. So if I mess up, I have another piece. Use 1 piece here. So that's good. Now I've got my piece of paper, 8 inches by 8 inches. As I said, save your other piece of paper. We're going to make something out of it a little bit later. And we're going to follow these steps in order to start our drawing. I'll put something on here so it doesn't blow away. So let's do it. Take a pencil. And in the center of your paper, and you don't need to measure, in fact, you don't need to be perfect about this, just draw yourself a circle. If you draw a bigger circle, it's going to be a bigger snowflake. If you draw a smaller one, it'll be a smaller snowflake. Okay, so once you have your circle, come up above and make like a seed shape. But don't actually touch the circle. Leave a little space between the seed shape and the circle. Do that again on the opposite side of the circle. We're going to make 6 seed shapes in all. That's 2, so I'll put 2 more here. Now I've got 4, and I'll make 2 more here. Now I've got 6 seed shapes. They almost touch the circle, but not quite. When you've done that, look at the space all around here. I want to come above and in between 2 of the seed shapes and make a seed shape up high like that. It's in between these and higher. Same thing here, in between those 2 and up a bit, I'll make another one. Let's do that in between each one. I'll end up with 6 seed shapes that are out in the space, up high. And one more. There. Okay, watch carefully for this next step. I'm going to start at one of the upper seed shapes. It doesn't matter which one. I'm going to pretend that it's like a balloon and put a string on it. My string is going to come down, but all of a sudden it's going to go and loop over that seed on the left. Not touch it, but loop all over and around beside it, down to the circle. Let's try that again. I'll go to another one. Make it like a balloon. Down goes the string, up and over one of the seeds to the left. Now, depending on how far out or close you put the seeds, might be more or less having to move your string around. Oh, so starting below, put a string on it, up and over and around the seed on the left. Let's try that again. Put a balloon string on it, up and over and back to the circle. And I've got 2 more to do here. Anything that we draw, you're going to draw it at all the same parts. So it's not hard, it's just repeating the same thing over and over. Okay, up and over and back to the circle. Now I've done that. Now I'm going to go again to one of my upper parts over here, one of my upper seeds. I'm going to go onto that. Here was where I connected in my string to my balloon. It's going to come down a little bit. And now I'm going to go up and around that upper seed. I'm going to come down and follow it around until I come up to the top of that one. Let's do that on each one. Starting at the string, up and around the top seed, not touching but close, and coming up to that one. And I'm going to do that same thing to every single one of these seeds. And John, you can show this page again with the steps on it. You haven't seen that one yet. So we've done this, and we are on step 4 now. So you can look at those steps, and if you get confused or forget, you can come back to the steps in the video to try to remember how to do this. So I'm coming on the string, around that upper seed, and back down and up to the top of that one. Okay, that step is done. Now for step 5. There's 6 steps in all. So I'm just going to come and go. Here was that bottom place where it just was. I'm going to come and connect it on. I don't have very far to go there. Just kind of connect it over. In fact, I'm just going to double it right then and there. I'm going to double it. And I'm going to pretend it comes back down around and down there. And so this one I doubled, and it's going to come back down and around and down to there. Let's see. I'm not sure I got them all. Let's see if I come over to this one. I'm going to look at what I've got here. I'm going to be coming over here and back down to there. I'm going to be coming over here and back around to there. I'm going to be coming over this way and back down to here. So it's not perfect, and I did it all the way around. Now I have a shape. It's a closed up shape, and it's a snowflake. But this is where the fun and individualized part begins, because now you can do whatever you want to make this snowflake your own. So I'm going to start by doubling that inside circle myself, just because I like to see it have the same thickness as the rest of the snowflake. And you can do whatever you want in here. I'm going to put some little circles all the way around the edge. But you could make a different design. And in some of these designs I've done different things. In this design, I made a little flower shape. And you can see that some of these I've done in different colors of paper. Any color of paper will work, but a light color is best. I'm assuming that you do not have construction paper, but if you do, use a very light color and you can make yourself something pretty. This one I made sort of a candy cane shape inside. You can do whatever you want. And this one I just made crisscross. So there's lots of different things that you can do inside the circle. Then pick some of your seed shapes. And I'm going to try doing little tiny dots. I've done this before. And if I do it inside my upper seed like that, I have to do it in the upper seed all the way around the circle. So whatever you do in one part of the design, find all the matching parts of the design and do the same thing inside that. We're not going to worry about this skinny pathway. We're going to let that be. But the inner parts, you can fill in however you want. Okay, let's say I did all these. I'm going to do a real simple one inside the lower seeds. Oh, I did that, so I'm going to have to do it in all of them. Okay, whatever I do in one of them, I have to do in all of them. So I'm going to quickly do mine so it doesn't take too long. Okay, let's say I did that. I still have some inside parts to think about because I have these spaces. What do I want to do in there? Well, just to be quicker for you, I'm just going to do what's called cross hatching, where I make some lines going one direction and then I make some going the opposite direction. And that's a quick way to fill in some of these spaces. But you might have another thing you want to do. So whatever way you want to fill those spaces in, whatever pattern you want to use, it's making lots of patterns in here. You can make whatever pattern you want to. Or you could fill it in just totally with shading. Make it black if you prefer. Okay, so when you finish that, now I filled in pretty much all the spaces. I didn't do much here, did I? I'll just do that. Okay, so now that I've filled in all the spaces, I want to go around the outer edge of the whole thing one more time and just circle around the outer edge one more time so it kind of makes the whole thing have like the ripple of water around the whole thing. Kind of an echo. Now, if I want to do something more fancy and add on to the outside of my snowflake, I could do that, or I could just be done. But if I wanted to do more, suppose I want to do this. Okay, I want to make it a little bit longer on the end. Got to do it to all of them. Make a little diamond shape on the end of all of these points. 6 points. It's always 6 points. And then suppose I wanted to do something else kind of fancy, and I'll just do this. Along the edge. I'm making my snowflake grow bigger. If I add something on, I've got to do it everywhere around the whole thing. But I'm doing very quick things because I don't want to take up all your time. Now, if I do that, and I get myself all the way around the edge, that means I have to give it one more of these echo around the edge things, like this. So I have a whole line connecting the whole thing around the outer edge. And at this point, try to stay about the same distance apart each time from the edge. Now, I could do more, I could be fancier, but I'm going to stop after this to show you the next step. And I think it's pretty good, like this. There. Now I've gotten all the way around, and that's a pretty fancy snowflake. So there's 2 steps left. One is, I like to give it a border around the outer edge. Now this might look difficult, but it's really not so hard. And you don't even need a ruler. Just take your pencil, draw very close to the edge, but not on it. I have a difficult table. These lines keep making my line not perfect, but that's okay. This does not have to be perfect. You can just keep going until you get all the way. Just curve yourself around the edges, connect it up, curve your way around. Okay, let's make one more line. I want to make it about the same thickness as I made those, so not too far away. And go ahead. Now, if you think you'd rather use a ruler to do this, you probably could, but I think it's almost better when you hand draw it and it's not perfect, because it's all the imperfections that lets us know that somebody cared to do something with their hands that make it interesting. Okay, now I've got this space in between my 2 lines. Well, you can do almost anything in that space. And in order to make this go more quickly, I'm going to do something kind of easy in that space. But you can do almost any design you want to. But whatever you do, just like in the snowflake, you do want to do it all around all the 4 sides. But I'm just going to do it pretty quickly here. Oh, I forgot to put a circle there. Now, I'm going to draw this whole thing with pencil. I'm using a number 2 pencil, which is the kind that most people use to write with, like for school projects. So you probably do already have a number 2 pencil that you're working with. Did you know that those numbers on pencils mean something? What they mean is how hard or how soft the lead is. Number 2 is a good amount because it can erase pretty easily. It's kind of a soft lead, and that means that we can smear it pretty easily too, and we can make some shadows with it. So I'm just going to show you a little bit about how to make this look more finished. Okay, when you're all done drawing, which I think I'm pretty well done drawing, I've got a good drawing of a snowflake there. Find the skinniest black pen you have in your house. It's good if you have an ultrafine Sharpie, but if you don't have an ultrafine Sharpie, find yourself a black pen. If you don't have a black pen, then go ahead and use a blue pen. But what you want to do is come back and go over your whole thing with ink. Well, I am not going to do very much of this with ink. You can see that I've already shown you finished, completed samples and how they look when you draw them all in. But what I do want to show you is how to do the shading. So I am going to come around right now the outer edge of this, at least for part of it, so that you can learn to do some shading. The shading makes the whole snowflake pop off the paper. So I'll just show you that part. So there I've done that. Pretend I've filled the whole thing in with black ink. Now, remember when you cut the paper and I said to keep the extra piece? Here's why. You can make something that's called a tortillon. And what a tortillon is a tool to help you smear the pencil and make your shading better. Here's how you make it. Take that extra strip and let's try to roll it with a little point down in the corner as much as we can, getting the teeniest point we can, kind of like that. And then holding it as tightly as we can, just keep rolling and rolling and rolling, and pretty soon we got something like that. That's probably enough. You could either keep going, or you could cut it there, take one piece of tape, tape it together on the end, and now you've made your own homemade tortillon. It's all a tortillon is rolled up paper. But I'll show you how it works. So if I want to do some shading, I want to use the edge of my pencil, not the point. And I want to come along just a little bit along the outer edge of my snowflake. You can shade inside your snowflake too. So the darkest shading is going to be right here on the edge. But we want it to look like it's moving out lighter and lighter, so you can kind of lift, not press very hard, and move it out. And it looks pretty good, but it'll look even better if you can smear your pencil. Like that. And pretty soon, getting dark along the edge and lighter, and you have to do this bit by bit. It's something you got to work your way around the edge with, and not try to be too fast, but work along the edge. So when you've got that, I'm putting my finger on here. See how it's smearing? And I'm just rubbing it together and out, and it makes a really nice looking shadow along the edge. And I'll show you this one. Look how nice the shading looks on this one. So when you're done with the whole thing, you want to put what's called your chop. Your chop is your initials done in a fine, kind of fun way. You can always just write your initials on the bottom. Sometimes people like to work on their initials, make them look fun. So my initials, being Ms. Mary, are M-E. I'm Ms. Mary Ernst. So I can make my M. And if I want to connect together my E, sometimes I go way down. I'll make that into an E. You can figure out how you like to connect your first letter and of your first name and your first letter of your last name and make your own chop out of your initials. If you don't know how to do this well, you might want to practice different ways and try out different ways. For example, I could do this, right? That connects them. Your initials are going to be different. I hope you like making these snowflakes, and I hope you stay safe and well. See you later.